Well, it's the duty of every parent to be engaged in their children's education. We need to know what our kids are being taught. We also need to know who's teaching them. We need to be engaged with what's going on, and there's a growing trend of conservative parents recognizing that one of the best ways to do this includes going to school board meetings and even maybe even running for a seat on the local school board. Here to highlight ways for you, yes, here to highlight ways for you to be engaged with your local school board is Amy Snead. She's the chapter chair of Moms for Liberty in Bedford County, Virginia. Amy, welcome to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you this afternoon.
Well, can you share with us how you were led to become more engaged with your local school system, how it all started for you?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think it goes back to my own childhood. My mom was very involved in our school. She was involved in all of our PTA events. Some of my earliest memories are attending PTA meetings with my mom. And so as my husband and I got married and started our own family, I knew that was something that was really important to me. We have 4 boys who now we've been involved in the public education system for almost 12 years. Our oldest son is in 11th grade. And so that's just always been something that's been important to me, serving in our kids' schools, as a room mom, planning parties and teacher appreciation weeks, and all the kinds of things that you do to be involved with your children's school. Now, I will say that when COVID hit, sort of everything ramped up a notch. So we started seeing things happening in our children's school that made us question whether or not the people in positions to make decisions over them were actually making the best decisions for our students, or were making decisions that went against what we would have decided as parents. And so we really decided to up our engagement at that point.
Well, and that's something I think a lot of parents all across the country are beginning to realize that they need to step it up as well. And it's fascinating to me how Moms for Liberty has become a growing movement across the country. What would you describe as the driving force behind Moms for Liberty, and how is it being received overall, do you think?
Well, I've heard it said before, the most dangerous place to be is between a mother and her child. And I think that's what we saw, and that's what really spurred people's involvement to get engaged with Moms for Liberty. So, I think what we see, boots on the ground, our chapter has been in place. We actually just celebrated our 2-year anniversary this month. And so we were fairly early on in this as an organization. It was established 2.5 years ago in Florida. And so what we've seen is the more parents that hear about this movement, the more they're saying, I agree with you. I didn't know there were others who felt this way. I've been wanting a way to get involved and get engaged. And I think Moms for Liberty provides that avenue for parents, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, community members. It's not limited to moms, but Moms for Liberty provides that structure and organization for parents who want to get more involved.
Well, and you really have become an organization in so many ways that's on the tip of the spear. How have you, now you're in Virginia, how have you been able to partner with new school board members in the effort to keep the schools there in Bedford County, Virginia, focused on learning and not on political agendas?
Yeah, we've been able to build really great relationships with our school board members. Some of our current school board members are actually dads who were standing outside of school board meetings when we were not being permitted in the building, or when speaking time was being limited, and we were basically creating our own meetings outside of these meetings. And there were dads who were standing up along with us, and they decided themselves to run for school board and now sit on the other side of those school board tables at the meetings. And so we've been able to build great relationships, and that's a paramount of our organization. One of our values is that we are joyful warriors. We are not there to scream and tear everything down. We are there to stand for truth and build relationships and empower others. And so it really has been several years now of building relationships with the former school board members and the ones that are currently serving and will continue to serve, for a few more years.
So, for those who are listening or watching right now all across the country, I'm thinking in particular of the parent who says, I'm far too busy to be engaged in the nitty gritty of my child's education. What would you say to that parent who may be watching or listening right now?
Well, I would say if they are thinking that they're far too busy to prioritize their children's education, there are some things that could probably be readjusted in your schedule. We're all probably guilty of a little too much scrolling and spending time on our phones or getting distracted by other things. And I would argue that there are few things in life more important than being involved in your child's education. That is the foundation upon which their lives will build. It is a huge part of the trajectory of their future and what they will go on to do after they have left their youth education. And so I would say, first of all, if you're listening, you probably don't fall in that category of saying that you're too busy because you're engaged with this. But I would say there are lots of ways to get involved that meet anyone's availability as far as your time frame. And I would say some really practical ways to do that are getting to know who your school board representative is. Myself, along with members of our organization, have spent hundreds of hours talking to members of our community, and most times people do not even know who their elected school board representative is. And so build a relationship with that person prior to when there has been an issue that arises that you think, I don't know what to do, I need to contact my school board representative. Know who that person is. Tune into a school board meeting. One of the blessings of COVID is that all of the school board meetings are now live streamed. So you can have it playing, in the kitchen while you're packing lunches or prepping dinner for the week, and hear what the conversations are. You can hear how your representatives are voting, and then it just strengthens the toolbox that you have of knowledge as to what's actually happening in your local school system.
Amy, we're going to have to wrap it up right there real quickly. Where can folks go to find more information?
I would encourage you to visit momsforliberty.org. You can find if there's a local chapter near you, or if this has made your heart beat a little bit faster, you can start a chapter of your own.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Amy.